the news. The Privy Council has begun hearing the appeal for entertainer Adidja Vybz Kartel Palmer and his 3 co-accused who were convicted for murder in 2014. The others are Shawn Shawn Storm Campbell, Kahira Jones, and Andre St. John. The 4 were convicted of the murder of Clive Lizard Williams. After efforts to overturn their convictions in 2018 were dismissed by the Court of Appeal, they brought the matter to the Privy Council. The issue in this appeal is whether their convictions are safe in light of 3 main grounds of challenge. The first is whether or not the trial judge should have excluded the telecommunications evidence relied on by the prosecution. The second questions how the judge should have handled the allegations that there were attempts to bribe members of the jury during the trial. The third challenge questions whether or not the judge was wrong to invite the jury to reach a verdict late in the day, given the special circumstances of the case. The 2-day hearing is being held in the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, one attorney is contending that it would be devastating if the murder convictions of Vybz Kartel and his co-accused were to be thrown out by the Privy Council. The Privy Council began the hearing of their appeals in the United Kingdom today. It's slated to conclude tomorrow. Attorney at law Hugh Wildman said if the conviction is overthrown, it will cast a shadow on the Jamaican judicial system as to why the law was not applied, especially as it relates to the handling of the jury.
It will be devastating in the sense that here you have a situation where the Privy Council being detached from the local condition, applying the law in a pure sense, readily concluded that there was no trial, and it would have implications for our system. That's why we did not pick that up. There was no trial because you could not proceed with 10 jurors. That must have implications for our justice system in terms of why we did not pay that up for it. All it needed to have done was to apply the law. The Jury Act and the provision that was referred to has been there for a long time. I used to apply it as a prosecutor at the DPP's office. I don't know why it was not applied in this case.
Attorney at law Hugh Wildman. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is once again in mourning after one of its members died in a motor vehicle collision along the Gotta's Main Road in Old Harbour, St. Catherine this morning. Constable Renardo Spence was attached to the Spanish Town Traffic Department and reportedly served some 29 years in the force. Police say at about 1:18 a.m., Spence was riding his motorcycle along the roadway when he hit a dog. He reportedly lost control of the vehicle, which collided with a white Toyota Corolla Fielder. Spence was taken to the Spanish Town Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. It's unclear if anyone in the Toyota motor car was hurt.
A beryllium security guard died after he was reportedly accidentally shot while at the company's office in Kingston. Dead is Kevon Hunter. Head of the Kingston Central Division, Superintendent Beresford Williams, said investigators are treating the case as a homicide. He said based on initial reports, 2 guards were entering a truck when the finger of one guard got caught in the gun and 1 shot was discharged. The guard died while undergoing treatment at hospital. The Financial Services Commission says it's investigating reports that several persons lost hundreds of thousands of dollars through engagement with an entity known as Warner Jamaica Media Limited, or Warner Media. In a statement today, the FSC said Warner Media is not licensed by the Commission under the Securities Act or any other law.
Police are seeking a man in connection with the seizure of 14 firearms at the Freeport warehouse in Montego Bay, St. James on Friday. He is known only as CJ, Fugitive or Shippy. The business community in Negril is urging the government to act quickly to assist with cleanup activities along the community's coastline so that normalcy can be restored to business operations there. This as several businesses have still not fully reopened in the aftermath of the inclement weather which impacted Jamaica's north coast last week. A cold front accompanied by rain and strong winds impacted communities including Ocho Rios, Montego Bay, and Negril. Several hotels and cruise ship pairs were impacted. Speaking in an interview, Negril's Chamber of Commerce President Elaine Bradley noted that private businesses have been undertaking cleanup activities, but they need government's assistance. She said the cleanup is costing businesses significant sums, and as such, they need help. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who toured the affected area recently, said cleanup activities would have begun in short order. Mrs. Bradley said Mr. Holness has also promised that work on a new seawall will begin in 2 weeks. Party supporter whose leg was severed during a motor vehicle accident in St. Thomas last week is doing well and continues to receive support from several party stakeholders. This according to Member of Parliament for Western St. Thomas, James Robertson. The woman was among party supporters who were on their way home at the end of nomination day activities last week when the incident occurred. Videos of the accident went viral on social media. Providing an update, Mr. Robertson noted that the woman underwent emergency surgery, and while she is still in hospital, she is stable and in good spirits. He added that she has received support from both party members and private individuals. Opposition leader Mark Golding has called on the Prime Minister to tell Jamaica how government will fund the planned increase in the income tax threshold. This after Andrew Holness announced that government will be implementing an improved version of the $1.5 million income tax threshold. The Prime Minister made the announcement while speaking at a Jamaica Labour Party rally in Clarkstown, Trelawney at the weekend. According to Mr. Holness, the promised tax plan, which is dubbed the 1.5 2.0, will help to further ease the financial burden of citizens. In reacting to the announcement while speaking to PNP supporters in Westmoreland yesterday, Mr. Golding suggested that the move could impact Jamaica's economy negatively. Director of Elections Glasspool Brown has sought to assure that those recruited to work in the February 26 local government elections will be paid in a timely manner. His assurance comes amid pay-related concerns by some people who worked in the 2020 general elections. Some of those recruited in that election are reportedly worried that those issues will persist after the local polls. When probed by IRFM News, Mr. Brown admitted that the 2020 elections had some pay issues, but noted that steps have been taken to improve them. He also maintained that great effort has always been made to ensure that persons recruited by the Electoral Office of Jamaica have received their pay. 16 persons will have a second chance at mobility by way of prosthetic devices following the handing over of checks to 2 suppliers under the New Limb, New Life initiative. The checks, valued at over $6 million, were presented to Surgix Jamaica Limited and Tutu Prosthetics. The Health Ministry is contributing over $5 million for the first 16 beneficiaries who will receive limbs from the 2 suppliers. An additional donation of over $300,000 is from the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. Through the council, lower limb prosthetic devices will be provided under the initiative, enabling individuals with physical impairments to lead healthy, productive, and independent lives. The funding will go to eligible amputees who have lost their limbs due to diabetes, arterial disease, trauma, and cancer. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said while the ministry emphasizes preventative care and raises awareness around treatment options, it also recognizes the importance of rehabilitative services in improving individual functioning and enhancing participation in daily activities.
We rehabilitate, which means restoring that person to a life that potentially could be as close to normal as they had before. We, in effect, therefore, create a message, because for everyone we restore, we're hoping that they become an ambassador for a cause, a very important cause. And that's the message I want to leave with you, that you mustn't play around with your lifestyle, because you may end up like me. Granted, I am now back, but I would prefer not to have been here. And so one of the big messages around New Live, New Life is the lifestyle promotion, the prevention message around diabetes, what causes it, how it manifests itself, why it is that you must manage your own affairs, protection of your body, so that you don't end up like this.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton. He was speaking at the handing over ceremony at the Sir John Golding Rehabilitation Center in St. Andrew yesterday.
Transport Minister Darrell Vaz is warning licensed public passenger vehicle operators in Jamaica that if they are found to have an agreement with ride-hailing company Uber, their license will be subject to revocation by the Transport Authority. This, as he said, such an agreement would be contrary to the terms and conditions of their PPV license. The warning from the minister comes as the Transport Ministry noted that there is no agreement between government and Uber for the entity to operate in Jamaica. In a release today, the ministry said, following Uber's introduction to the Jamaican market in 2021, the Transport Authority met with stakeholders to address the implications of the company's presence in the country and establish the regulatory framework under which it falls. There has yet to be any agreement on the way forward. However, the ministry noted that an offer does exist and is being reviewed by the Transport Authority. It reiterated that the law requires that every person operating a public passenger motor vehicle for a fee must first obtain a road license and display a badge issued by the Transport Authority. Meanwhile, the ministry said President of the Montego Bay Maxi Taxi Association, Greg Connell, has given his commitment that his association will not enter into an agreement with Uber until Cabinet has decided on the matter. This follows an announcement on January 30 that Uber Taxi was available in parts of western and northern Jamaica through a collaboration with the Montego Bay Maxi Taxi Association. The St. Catherine Municipal Corporation has rubbished claims that it was negligent in maintaining the Watermount water supply system. This after Member of Parliament for St. Catherine West Central, Dr. Christopher Tufton, called for the municipality to be stripped of the responsibility of maintaining the system. At a community meeting last week, Dr. Tufton cited concerns reportedly expressed by Rural Water about poor maintenance, delays in project completion, and the inability of customers to access water despite making connection payments. He asked the local government ministry to intervene. In response to Dr. Tufton's claims, Chairman of the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation, Mayor Norman Scott, told RFM News that the issue with the Watermount system started with the replacement of the William Gully Dam. He explained that it was then that issues with the Watermount pumping station came to the fore. Mayor Scott said he enlisted the help of Rural Water to fix the system, and those works are progressing. Mayor Scott also chastised Dr. Tufton for not acting in the best interest of his constituents. He argued that Dr. Tufton should have collaborated with him in getting the necessary resources to fix the matter. Work to rebuild the Highgate Market in St. Mary is expected to begin in the next fiscal year. The market was gutted by fire last year. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie said the design for the new market is finished. He added that the work is expected to cost about $200 million. The Rural Agriculture Development Authority, RADA, is cautioning farmers to be careful of the measures they administer in their farming to prevent bushfires. Speaking with RFM News, Chief Executive Officer at RADA, Winston Simpson, outlined several practices that farmers should desist from to avoid bushfires. Mr. Simpson explained the importance of creating fire breaks on farms to protect them. He also noted that where burning is required on farms, persons should utilize metal drums with holes in the sides and a cover on the top to ensure the fire is contained.